What would you do differently interviewing world leaders? Like, what are the questions? And is there a particular or any particular set of leaders you're curious about talking to at this point, and why?
Well, I mean, gosh, there's a number of them. And to be honest, I don't think that they will be lining up to sit down with me, given the type of questions I want to ask them. The world as we know it has become so different.
Yeah.
You know, we had things that were no-go areas. We had things that were, you know, each world leader kind of like kept themselves in check. They kept each other in check.
Yeah.
But now
they used to.
But now we seem to have gone in a very, very different direction.
It's scary.
It's a very scary.
It's a scary direction.
Yeah,
it's giving Nazi Germany direction.
Right. Well, and also there's a cascading effect, because if an influential country does this, then it empowers other countries.
It's open season.
It's open season. Nobody's talking about human rights anymore.
Yeah.
Human rights is seen as a weak topic now. Yeah. And that is so frightening for me, as someone who has spent a lot of my career working on human rights, justice, injustices, and championing people's rights. And, you know, you're waiting for countries to annex other countries. We've had a president, a sitting president, taken from his bed and taken blindfolded with his wife to another country. And like, if this was in a movie, you'd be like, come on, wait, this is too far-fetched. Like, this is not for real. But this is happening in real time. And world leaders are quiet. That's the alarming thing.
Hi guys, welcome. It's another episode of the StormCast. Look at me like a YouTube professional. Hi guys, welcome. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, my name is Folu Storms. I have the StormCast as a series that allows me to explore conversations with people that I am genuinely interested in, fascinated by, or like I'm just curious about. As usual, my guest today falls into all three of those categories. With me, we have Stephanie Busari. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. So guys, I need to let you know that Steph literally got off a plane and ran to be here. And I appreciate that. Like, thank you so much for coming in.
You're heavy in my hands, as they say.
Is it? What? Wait, what does that mean? I'm heavy in your hands.
Oh no, it's like a Yoruba literal.
Can you say for me in Yoruba, please?
Owolowomi. Or something like that, that just means that it's something I really wanted to do.
Yeah, so, thank you.
Because I wanted to sleep.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, so for those who may not know, are you happy with Stephanie or Steph?
Steph's fine.
Okay, so Steph has worked for over 2 decades across some of the biggest names in international media, is incredibly well known for the work that she's done with CNN, but has made that transition from being this heavy hitter with CNN to being a heavy hitter individually with SBB Media, which you launched. And I personally wanted to talk to Steph because I remember when she started coming to Nigeria and doing work with CNN in Nigeria, and I was like, oh, this was CNN. Now, being the person that I am, I have templates for people that I want to follow. I was like, oh, who's doing things at a level that I feel is excellent, that is dedicated to telling stories, not just authentically, but telling stories of who we are, and is doing it in a way that is meaningful, that is thoughtful. And I genuinely felt when I came across your work that that's what you were doing. And then I've come across you and just sort of seen you, because we come across each other in different events, social spaces.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm like, she's so chill, dude. That's so nice. And so I know I've never told you this in person. And then you popped up again for me when I knew, oh, yes, I'm doing the StormCast now. There was a dinner that we were at with Eden Venture Group.
Oh, yes.
And you stood up and you spoke about the book that you've done with these collating stories of about her story
yes.
of all these women. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Like this these the moments. I'm gonna seize it. So talk to me about what that's been like, switching, especially identity, career, to a certain extent, from the work you were doing with CNN, especially in Nigeria, where we like to attach to brand, to this brand, to
So, gosh, it's been such a journey. So I left CNN last year. Well, 2024 now.
Yes.
Still getting used to the new year. I left in 2024, and it was a 16-year journey that came to a natural end. It was just time to leave, and I just kind of thought, what's my next move? Do I go to another organization? I reached the peak of my career at CNN. I was running the bureau here. I became Africa editor for digital, several promotions, several awards, including an Emmy, a Peabody, so many things have been achieved in that time, 16 years. And I just felt, where do I go from here? I've never been an entrepreneur, but I just knew that my next chapter was going to be working for myself. Because I always joke that if I work half as hard as I did for CNN for myself, I'll be a millionaire. Easy. So, it just seemed like the next chapter. But yeah, it came with all the anxieties that come with taking a leap of faith to do something new. And the corporate cushion can be quite comfy, and all of those things are no longer there. So and then one thing that people always used to tell me when I first arrived in Nigeria, the CNN brand is so kind of respected here, more than in any territory that I've ever worked in.
Really?
Yes. It's, for some reason, Nigerians have such a massive affinity with CNN.
That's so interesting.
And see as such a prestigious brand. It is.
Yes.
It's like probably the biggest news organization in the world. And of course, legacy media is going through its evolutions as we speak. But at that time, it was like, when you're leaving CNN, do everything you want to do because the phone stops ringing once you leave CNN.
Chai, that's what they said.
That's what people were telling me.
Yeah.
Like, you're no longer important if you're not with CNN. And so I had this at the back of my mind, like, leaving. Of course, that was never going to stop me leaving because I just knew that I still have so much more to give. And, my pivot was so important in terms of the kind of storytelling I want to do. But I was scared, naturally, like, okay, well, I'm going to be dead to some people now. Yeah. And maybe I am in a way, but I've been so busy, I haven't noticed, which is great. So that was the kind of like messaging I was getting, once you leave, you're not important, you're not relevant. And I guess it was not malicious. That's what happens maybe in politics and in other spheres. Like once you're not that title that people respect and know and kind of want to curry favor.
Associate with, right?
Because let's face it, it's not really about me.
It's this title.
It's about, can you put me on CNN?
Yeah.
Let's be real.
So this thing you're talking about is it's a core what is the word? It's a core perspective from which this podcast operates. Titles, identities, boxes that we put ourselves in and others put us in. Yeah. I remember putting up on social media just the other day. I mean, at the time of recording, literally like yesterday, I put up a solo musing on this idea of titles and identity. When people ask, so what do you do? And it's this idea of how relevant are you in society? Which are you useful? Are you not useful?
Exactly.
And I wonder, so I guess my question for you is, and thank you for sharing that, it was an anxiety-inducing thought to feel that somehow what you're doing doesn't matter in a way. If that was what people were saying, that's the association you would make. But I wonder, now that you've made that transition, you're like a year into living life as you and the next chapter of your life, essentially, do you feel that there has been a marked difference in how people are relating to you, and what are the good sides of that, and what have been the more challenging aspects of that to navigate?
Well, like I said, to be honest, I've been so busy.
Yeah.
I posted something on my Instagram as an end of year reflection towards the end of last year, and just reflected on this change and just said, I was worried that the phone would stop ringing and I wouldn't be relevant anymore. But the phone has not stopped ringing, which is fantastic. I'm really thrilled that people see the value in me and what I bring to the table. It's not just about my title, because titles are for rent. Basically, they're for rent. What you build for yourself cannot be taken away from you. The identity that you carve for yourself. And, it's like kind of biblical in a way. A wise man leaves an inheritance for his children. You can't give your children a corporate job title. They can't inherit that.
Yeah.
They inherit what you build.
Yeah.
They inherit what you create.
Yes.
And, what you have amassed in your lifetime. So I'm fortunate. My reputation has preceded me in many ways. People know that I deliver excellence.
Yeah.
People know that I have integrity. People know that I just get shit done.
Yes.
Basically.
These the cocoa. You people, please listen very well, because at the end of the day, it is about the quality of the work that you do, and you are doing the work.
Yeah.
It is not something that is outsourced. It is an institutional title did not give you the ability to execute. And if you were doing nonsense, you would not have been there.
Exactly.
They would not have trusted you to do so many things and to essentially build a brand new company here on their behalf.
I was like an entrepreneur here.
Yes,
really.
It was fully entrepreneurial work you were doing.
Yeah.
And then even doing that work in Nigeria and being an entrepreneur in Nigeria is a different ball game. And I'm so interested. I'm going to go into that, but let me backtrack a little bit and look at the beginning of SBB Media, her story.
Yeah.
Why her story? Why was that important for you to do? And what, because it's a book, right?
Yes.
So what inspired that?
I can't believe I didn't bring a copy. So you have to show a picture next time.
I will insert photo
actually,
here.
I do have a copy. It's in a car. I brought you a copy. Yeah. So her story is really because I've always wanted to have a platform for women. A lot of the work that I did so I was with CNN for 16 years, but 25 years in international media.
Mm-hmm.
Always been kind of focused on women in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
That's a natural bias that I have, which I make no apology for. So I wanted a platform for women, and I just think that many women, particularly of a certain generation, and these are some of the women that I coach, and some of the women who are my clients, they've spent decades building expertise. They've spent decades working in corporate, in their business, doing amazing things. But they were raised in a generation that was not, there was no social media, for example. So you were not kind of taught to go and talk really loudly and blow your own trumpets. It was like heads down, your work will speak for you. You someone will magically notice your work. And the number one complaint that I would get was, well, look at so-and-so. They haven't done half of the things that I've done. I've done X, Y, Z. I've won X, Y, Z. It's like, okay, that's great, but who knows about that? How intentional are you about putting your work out there? How visible are you? If I Google you, what do I find? And they don't realize that they're actually contributing to their own erasure by not talking about themselves, by not talking about their work. I'm not saying that you should now go on social media and start, talking about your breakfast and all kind of things. You need boundaries.
Yes.
You can be online and still maintain your privacy.
Private life, yeah.
And so it kind of was born out of that frustration of not seeing these amazing women, particularly African women, documented their stories. So each woman has a chapter in the book that they submitted, and we put it together. Myself and a team of editors, we published a book. I've never published a book before, but it was what I could do. It was like part of my new independence. Allowed me to say, you know what, I'm going to publish a book. And we did it. We did it in 4 months.
Whoa.
Yes.
What?
It was a crazy
4 months.
intense journey. But yeah, it was a passion project, and we did it in that time because we really put everything to it. And it's very successful. And we're about to have another volume, another edition, because everyone was like, "Oh, I want to be a part of this." You know, and we have women from China, we have women from Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria. You know, it's really prioritizing the voices of women in Global South, people who are not necessarily in the mainstream, but who have done really important work. And one of the women in the book, who I'm really proud to have in the book, is the mother of one of the Chibok schoolgirls. Her daughter's still missing. It'll be 12 years in April. But she beyond being a mother of a Chibok girl, she's just such an amazing woman. She's a farmer. She's raised many kids single-handedly, and she's just amazing. Her name is Yana Galang, and over the years in which I've reported the Chibok kidnapping, I became friends with her. And I felt sure that her story, her voice, deserved to be part of this book.
That was another question I was going to ask. Thank you for sharing about Yana. I know that you did do a lot of work around the Chibok kidnappings, and you were instrumental in the way the government stepped in to then finally negotiate the release for some of these girls. And if you had to sort of summarize the thing that impacted you the most, having to tell that story, and something that we forget about is that it's ongoing in a way, right? Yeah. Because there's so many of these girls that haven't made it back home. What would you say is the thing that impacted you the most, having to tell that story?
From that story? Oh gosh, so many. So it's actually the pain of the parents that really moved me a lot, because this happened in 2014. I wasn't living in Nigeria at the time, and I came to report on the story. We were in Abuja, and at the same time Nigeria was hosting the WEF conference, the World Economic Forum, for the first time. And in the way that we like to do, we like to say, oh no, but don't look at the problems, focus on the good things. Absolutely focus on the good things, but don't ignore the problems. Because if you ignore problems, you can't create solutions to improve and change. So we came to cover WEF, but the story became Chibok. Because how can you ignore 276 schoolgirls stolen from their school as they waited to sit an exam? And the really sad thing for me was we were being told by, people close to the administration at the time that this was a hoax.
I remember that narrative. I remember the narrative.
There's probably people out there who
still believe that it's
kidnapping.
sponsored. Is it real? Where? How do we know?
Right.
Yeah.
The thing is, knowing what I know now about Nigerian politics, it probably was sponsored. Maybe. Yeah. But does that mean
But it was a kidnapping.
Those children, those young girls deserve to just have their lives stolen and nobody does anything? And the parents, so what happened was this crazy juxtaposition of high-ranking people affiliated with the administration telling us, oh, you don't understand Nigerian politics, it's a hoax, it's not real, it's enemies of Jonathan, etc. And on the other hand, we're speaking to parents, desperate parents, who were just beside themselves, telling us that these girls were carried in trucks big trucks across the Sambisa forest. The Sambisa forest is huge. If you go to northern Nigeria, it's huge. They're watching the girls being transported in trucks, and it's not one truck.
It's more
Because how do you transport? If you think about the logistics,
yes,
of it,
it's heavy
huge
logistical operation.
Logistical operation. Where's the army? Where's the help? They are telling us that they wanted to run after these trucks and try to rescue their daughters, but they only had machetes, and these terrorists have guns. They have AK-47. So that's the thing that drove me, was this crazy juxtaposition of like, you people over here have the power to do something, but you're not because of your self-interest.
They did not have the will.
There was no will. There was no political will, because the belief was, this is created to destroy my political reputation. And it probably was. But your citizens deserve better. They deserve to know that you will do everything to rescue their daughters when they're kidnapped. And they would tell us that, if this was a child of a famous or important person, they would be rescued. And it's true.
It is true.
It's very true. We know the kind of like crazy hierarchical society
that we operate in.
You know, very classist society.
So this is something else that Aisha, welcome to the StormCast. This is something else that I want to go into a bit, because as a not so young Nigerian anymore, forget how I look, right? This is a thing that I've struggled with all my life, and I've grown up, and I keep saying like I'm Nigerian, but I'm back and forth in the UK and here, and I know that you share a very similar sort of backdrop. How do you, knowing all the things that you know, because you also are placed in a very unique position by virtue of the work that you do and how well and diligently you do that work, to really observe some of the inner workings of this nation, whose people we love, but whose institutions we sometimes struggle with? How does that make you feel? Because you've also made that conscious decision to operate more within Nigeria and to do so much more and to tell these stories. Why do you... There's so many questions in there.
Let's peel them.
Let me try and unlayer it. Why have you decided to do that? Do you struggle with the reality, with the sometimes blatant, glaring reality of the lack of care of a number of leaders? And do you ever struggle with the sense of hopelessness here? Because I know a number of young Nigerians really do.
That's very packed. It's power packed.
Yeah. Sorry.
Let me deconstruct it. Listen, I'm Nigerian, right? I was born in this country. I moved away when I was 12, and by, I wanted to come back. So since 2008-10, I was thinking, I see a movement. I see young people doing things. I see something. I want to be a part of that. But of course, Nigeria is not a place you can just rush back and, But thankfully, I was able to come back with an organization that provided a lot of cushions for me to come back and, in terms of housing and all the things that you need to be comfortable. But my view has always been that I could not, in good conscience, sit in another country and write about my country and not be part of solutions in the country. And that's not to say that you can't leave or you shouldn't travel out. But for me personally, it was a choice that I had to make to be part of the solution, to be back here, and we are who we're waiting for. Nobody's coming to save us.
No savior, guys.
Nobody is coming to save us, So, and in a place where you have a lot of problems, you're not going to make changes in a massive way. changes happen incrementally,
Mm-hmm.
maybe so incrementally that you don't even notice them, but they're there. And it requires each one of us to work in our own sphere to bring about the change that we want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what drives me as an individual, as a journalist. That is what drives me.
Mm.
Because I want to be a part of the change.
Mm.
So coming here was part of that, right? Working here has been interesting. On the one hand, it was fantastic. Everyone was like, "Oh wow, there's a Nigerian." I think I'm first Nigerian to be bureau chief of CNN office anywhere in the world.
Whoa!
Yeah,
That's phenomenal.
It's or first African. I don't even know.
And we like first here.
So there was a lot of excitement and a lot of goodwill. I had a lot of goodwill when it was announced. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword because people expect you to report or to work with the Nigerian lens, right? I'm a journalist. What I will do is be fair and balanced, so that we're not just putting out disaster stories. We're not just putting out stories about poverty or whatever. We have to change the way the world perceives our continent and our country.
Mm-hmm.
So that was foremost at the back of my mind. But again, I'm not going to ignore problems.
Yeah.
So people always want you to put things under the carpet.
Yeah.
They want you to say everything's great when it's not.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
Because nowhere in the world is perfect, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing that increasingly, the rest of the world is showing their true colours.
The colour is outside.
The colours, the masks are off, and we're seeing that institutions, countries, places that we always imagined were not perfect, but better than us.
The branding was supreme.
Right.
That's what it was.
Branding.
Yeah.
If you take the case of America, for example, Hollywood was a big part of that propaganda.
Yes.
Hollywood made us believe that America, the hero, always there to save the day. Mm-hmm. That was a constant theme in their narrative about the country. Yeah. It's marketing. Yeah. And that's what we need to start looking at, actually, in terms of our filmmaking. But I digress. So I'm a straight shooter. I'm not going to say that something is great when it's not. And, a lot of the accusations I had was that I was demarketing Nigeria. That's the typical kind of accusation that they throw at you if you actually just tell it as it is. I'm not here to demarket. I'm not here to promote or do propaganda either. That's not my job. My job is to present the reality
in a fair and balanced way.
Fair, balanced, and accurate.
That is very important. Okay. So any hopelessness? No.
If I was hopeless, I would wouldn't be here.
100%.
I came with my daughter. She was 5 at the time. Maybe if she had said, "Mummy, I hate it here," then I would have left immediately. But thankfully, she didn't.
Thank God for that. Thank God for that. So interesting. It then makes me wonder, just as an individual, and I really resonate with a lot of the things that you've said, in terms of the importance of being involved. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to sit outside and say, the problem with this, you people, you have not done, come back home. Come and do work. Because history will judge us. Posterity will judge us. Right. I remember, I'm going to give you a quick sideways gist. I was on a flight somewhere in economy, as I do, back of the plane.
There's nothing wrong with being at the back of the plane.
Me to where I'm going to, okay? And one of these airlines and the air host he was just sort of talking to me, we were gisting, and he goes, "Oh, Nigeria." He goes, your country, you don't have a national airline? Huh. I said, well, the thing is maybe it's not that we have another one that flies, but it's not owned by and it's very easy to say, oh, the government, the people did this, but at the end of the day, we are representations of where we are from, regardless of where in the world we go and what we do. People will still look and say, but are you not part of the people? Are you not part of the problem? And so I wonder, this now brings me to a question around integrity and how, as a journalist and just as a human being, as an entrepreneur, how do you work to maintain your integrity in situations where I believe in Nigeria we're presented with, and globally we're presented with, but a bit more blatantly here, many circumstances in which people say, but why should that be a problem now? Why, there is a level of moral flexibility that is concerning. How do you maintain integrity? How do you keep that? And how does that go for you?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I'm not here sitting claiming to be a perfect person.
Yeah.
But I have certain parameters, moral for my own kind of, the way I like to work. If a deal is on the table and it compromises my values in any way, and I will walk away, no matter how much that deal is. I've turned down work from people that I don't necessarily, I don't feel like our values align. I will never work with gambling, for example. There are things that are, thresholds for me. And I maintain that because that's just my personal preference. And it's not a slight on anybody, I mean, Nigeria forces you to kind of examine and re-examine your values a lot.
Yeah.
I can't deny, I can't sit here and say I've never paid a bribe. I've never said, take this because I need to get that thing done.
You need to get things done.
Because that's the way it happens, So I'm not going to sit here and claim some kind of moral superiority.
Yeah.
But there are things that are just non-negotiables for me. That's it. And also, I'm a woman of faith. There are things that my faith guides. That I should not do. And so
I love that. No, that's dope.
I really adhere to that.
Yeah, and it's a constant work in progress because I know there are a number of entrepreneurs, there are people who are working in the media space, who are coming into it, who are worried about how they navigate that. And the reality is you're going to have people that will just not like you. They'll say that person, that Folu, don't mind that. She just needs everything so proper. Sorry, sir, don't be angry. But certain things will maybe not taint you, but it will affect your ability to work.
Well, so I'll give you an example. So I didn't realize that when you go to some of these PR events, that there's thanks for coming. I've never encountered it.
It almost hooked me. It was a colleague of mine that said, wait, let me pick up your bag. Let me show you something. Brought out and went back to them and said, we don't do this.
Right. That's the thing. I literally in my car thinking, oh, what's in here?
Pamphlets. And
then I saw an envelope. It wasn't like a huge amount, but I thought, oh my God, no, that's not why I came.
Yes.
I came because we don't actually even report on that kind of story, but I came because I wanted to support the person. So we drove back.
Yes. Oh,
and
great.
I said, please, I cannot accept this.
Yeah.
And I've been offered a lot of money in my line of work to put people on a platform.
Yeah.
But it sits so, it sits badly with me. And then, the funny thing is, that same person that I gave the money back to now end up working briefly with me. And I can just imagine, if she went back to the others, say, oh,
that one,
she came, she took money, don't mind that, And it's just what will people say about if I claim to be X?
Yes.
I gotta be X.
Yeah.
I can't be Y.
Yeah.
Because nobody's watching. I could have kept the money. Actually, that's happened twice. I also interviewed someone high profile, and then they said, "Oh, yeah, August said we should give you your thanks for coming." I was like, please donate it to a charity of your choice. Because it's just like, that is not why we do interviews.
Yes.
If you're doing interviews for thanks for coming, then your ability to report truthfully
is compromised. Yeah, we would have the same thing on radio. I interviewed Bimi as well, and we were talking about it, and I was saying how when I also started in media here, because I transitioned from law, and the reason I transitioned was very similar to some of the things you've expressed, where I was just like, well, in terms of narratives, like, we need people to tell our story, like what's happening. And for me, it was really just current culture and pop culture and youth culture, and I found that the people that I was connecting with were people who were very rooted in who they were. And I was like, we don't often talk about this culture and this music. And I remember trying to get, I would just be like, oh, I'm this person, I work for this radio station, I want to interview you? And people would come, and when they leave, they try to give me stuff, and I'm like, yo, like, exactly. It's okay.
I mean, so listen, we operate a payola system. That is the way the industry is. I'm not going to deride anybody for being a part of that system, but coming from where I came from and working for the platform that I worked for, I mean, this is a platform that's 40 plus years.
Yeah.
And they haven't gotten this reputation for 40 years by doing those things.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be the one, the first African to come and say, hey, but I paid her 20K to be on CNN. I was like, no, you did not.
Yeah.
Like, nobody will ever
And we've
say
been
that.
in rooms where people say that. They're like, that's one. I know. I've given them money. I know. If you just give them kiniko, they will do what you want.
Exactly.
Anyway, so this brings me to the intentional person that you are, and you're clearly a very intentional person. I saw that you also put up your intentions for 2026, which I liked them.
Oh, really?
You had a number of intentions, and I think how the intentions that stuck out to me were intentions of falling back in love with yourself, intentions of going to Japan.
Yeah.
Because I turned 40 this year.
Oh.
And that's where I'm going to. I haven't bought that. I'm like, I'm like, respect me, you people. I'm a Chelsea 40
You
minus.
should be calling her Auntie Folu
no, please
now.
don't call me Auntie Folu. Sir, please, no, let me be hiding in my youthful face.
I know, right?
But
me, I'm still a millennial, so don't call me Auntie.
No, please. It's when men that are bold, I say, mommy. I'm like, sir, who is your mommy? Don't refer to me as such. And you also spoke about wanting to interview more world leaders. What would you do differently interviewing world leaders? Like, what are the questions? And is there a particular or any particular set of leaders you're curious about talking to at this point, and why?
Well, I mean, gosh, there's a number of them. And to be honest, I didn't think that they would be lining up to sit down with me, given the type of questions I want to ask them. The world as we know it has become so different.
Yeah.
We had things that were no-go areas. We had things that were, each world leader kind of like kept themselves in check. They kept each other in check.
Yeah,
but now
they used to.
But now we seem to have gone in a very, very different direction.
It's scary.
It's a very scary.
It's a scary direction.
Yeah,
it's giving Nazi Germany direction.
Right. Well, and also there's a cascading effect, because if an influential country does this, then it empowers other countries.
It's open season.
Nobody's talking about human rights anymore.
Yeah.
Human rights is seen as a weak topic now. Yeah. And that is so frightening for me, as someone who has spent a lot of my career working on human rights, justice, injustices, and championing people's rights. And, you're waiting for countries to annex other countries. We've had a sitting president, taken from his bed and taken blindfolded with his wife to another country. And like, this was in a movie, you'd
You'd be like,
"Dude,
come
wait,
on.
this is too far-fetched. Like, this is not for real." But this is happening in real time.
In real time.
And world leaders are quiet. That's the alarming thing. There's no censure. There's no, I mean, like, imagine if it was an African country. The sanctions, it
would be 24-hour
just like
steady news across all these countries.
Everybody would be piling on them.
Yeah.
Rightfully, because it's
a
wrong. Terrible thing to do. So there's obviously, I mean, since October 7th, 2024, we saw that there's been a sliding scale of, who gets justice or who gets censured or criticized. Was it 2024 or 2023? Sorry, 2023. The Israeli attacks.
Yes.
So, we've had the Israel-Gaza conflict, war, since bombardment, it's not really a war if one side is bombarding the other.
Journalists killed.
So many things that we thought could never happen without checks have been happening. And it feels like worse is going to happen. And so the idea was to like sit down and say, what's
up?
What's going on?
What's up?
Like, I'm sure they won't be lining up to sit down with me to answer those questions. But, it is what it is. I still miss journalism.
Yeah.
And, with the SBB Media, I'm doing a lot more kind of PR, strategic communications. But I'm still a journalist and storyteller at heart. And, I was reading that there's a very real possibility for the kind of war that our grandparents saw.
Absolutely.
And that is a very frightening
It's
prospect.
scary. It feels like almost like a bird's eye view of just watching pieces move. And when I saw and heard the news very recently, again at the time of recording, of the woman in Minneapolis that was shot. Murdered. She was murdered by an ICE agent. And then to see the reactions of not just ICE officials, but the reactions of the president of their country. These are state-sanctioned kidnappings. Because in Nigeria, I know about people. If somebody in Balaclava should show up to collect me from my car, I'm not coming down. We're not. What are you talking about? We're not. That is it. You. I don't know who you are. You've not identified yourself.
No
You've forcefully tried to enter my car. There's no warrant. There's nothing. Then she's been murdered, and then you have the state saying, "Oh no, they where they have immunity. They didn't do anything wrong." What is the
answer is I don't know. Whatever the question is, because I really don't know.
Do you know what it is? It's scary.
It is scary. I mean,
I think it's just blatantly scary.
It is frightening times because, like I said, it's influencing other countries, other people. So Nigel Farage, for example, in England.
I've been seeing more of the flat.
Right, it's close to home. I grew up there. He's saying that he wants to bring ICE-style immigration crackdown if he becomes prime minister, and there's every chance that he will, because the anti-immigrant rhetoric is so high in the UK at the moment. And so we may see those kind of, but UK police aren't armed typically. But this new set of law enforcement agents may become heavily militarized, like we're seeing it in the States.
In the States, yeah.
So that cascading effect is very concerning.
God, that big. But other intentions, though, that you had for 2026 to go back or to go forward from world events, you said you'd like to spend a month in a country that you haven't lived in, an African country that you haven't lived. Why that?
Well, I mean, to be honest, why not? I just a break from the old routine.
Yeah.
I speak French, so... Yes. I would love to maybe go to somewhere like Dakar, Côte d'Ivoire, and just
exist.
Just Yeah, just live there and work there for a month. I work for myself.
Yeah.
I work remotely. I can work from anywhere in the world. So it can happen actually.
Do you know what? That's the other question as well, because from spending so long working with an institution to now having this complete control over the scope and direction of your life.
It literally is so liberating. Because so last year, for example, I was working with a client who came to me and said, "Look, we need your help urgently. It was last minute. My event is in 3 weeks. I need your help." We worked with them, but the event was in Barbados. So, but in my mind, it was just like the Nigeria portion. And then at the last minute, she was like, "Sis, why don't you come to Barbados?" And I'm like, "Hey, wait a minute. Why don't I go to Barbados?" I can totally go to Barbados. If a client was taking me to Barbados, they could take me to Barbados.
Yeah.
And literally it happened.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually like traveling quite at short notice.
Yeah.
Like when things happen, like, "Can you do this? Can you come?"
Yeah.
I'm like, let me think about it. Oh, let me phone my boss. Let me phone my boss and like ask for 2 weeks off. Oh, I don't have to do that anymore. And actually, I was really annoyed because I turned down a really kind of like not lucrative but high profile gig. Someone had come to me while I was still at CNN. And this was before I left. I was still mulling leaving. And maybe I should have said yes and done that.
Yeah.
They wanted me to host a podcast that was over 6 to 8 weeks and like investigative and, very high profile platform.
Okay.
But I said I wanted to see if I could like marry it with my work at CNN and, but there was like, no. We want it to be completely independent and it won an award recently.
Oh,
I was like,
dude.
damn it.
What is for you is for you.
Well, exactly. Yes. I mean, I was very happy for the person that they ultimately chose. But, now I don't have to say no to opportunities like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it was the best decision I ever made, actually.
Yeah, I love that. So what would you say to people who are struggling with that decision right now? Because there are a lot of people in corporate work, in very structured work, who are considering entrepreneurship, also understanding that entrepreneurship is not necessarily for everybody.
Yep.
It is not for the faint of heart.
Yep.
What are the skill sets that you think served you well working in structured environments like corporates that would have translated for you? And what would you say to people who are considering that sort of leap?
Well, I mean, gosh, you have to think about it extremely carefully. You have to have some runway in terms of expenses. Do you have 6 to 12 months expenses to cover yourself if you leave? Because there's what if like no clients come? How will you survive? So give yourself cushions.
Okay.
When you take leaps of faith, you don't plunge yourself into the abyss. You cushion the fall.
Shouldn't be blind.
It shouldn't be blind. You cushion the fall. You find a way to say, okay, I'm leaping, but I know if I land here, it'll be a soft landing, that kind of thing. And for me, being a journalist, like, creates so much resilience. You're used to getting no all the time. You have to be persistent to get a story. So there are skills that you develop that lend themselves very well to becoming an entrepreneur because you just have to keep going. Those are.
I love that. Yes, persistence, cushion. Yeah, you can keep going. I think those are pretty solid because entrepreneuring in Nigeria is not really. Again, it's not for the faint of heart. It is absolutely not.
It has been a movie.
So I guess sort of to round up, because I know I could really actually spend quite a bit of time chatting with you, and thank you again for coming. I guess my final question would be this: falling back in love with yourself. And I know that at this point, by the point that you guys are watching this, 2026, I know it's already been quite a year. the initial ginger of the start of the year, it sort of wears down. But for you, like putting that in context in SBB Media and this falling back in love with yourself, how is that a part of your personal love story? And what are your, I don't even want to say goals, but how are you continuing that love story? What are you putting in place to make sure that happens?
Yeah, I mean, it's about not being too hard on myself. I'm like my biggest critic.
Yeah.
So just giving myself grace, looking after myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm a pretend millennial. So I'm not really a millennial, but so as time goes on, you really just have to like kind of be very, very conscious of what you eat, how, working out, showing up, being good to yourself, being kind to yourself.
Being kind to yourself.
That is so essential. Be kind to yourself because there's so many people out there who are waiting to tear you down, who are waiting to be unkind because of their issues. May not even have anything to do with you.
Yeah.
But if you're kind to yourself, it allows you gives you the ginger.
Yeah, it's like water for ducks back. Right. It's like, okay, sorry, I know what you're going through, but...
And just keep going. And it's self-care as well.
Yeah.
Which I'm very bad at. Someone booked me a massage in November. I still
haven't gone.
So.
Thank you for reminding me. My secret Santa gave me a massage. Hey, gosh, yeah.
So yes, that's what falling in love with myself looks like.
I like that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for the conversation. And thank you to everybody who's watching and who stayed with us for this. There will be more conversations, but I genuinely pray for you that the rest of this year exceeds expectations.
Amen.
And that you find ways to continuously marry your purpose with your joys.
Amen.
I would genuinely pray that for you.
Wow.
That's cool. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, this has been like so enriching.
Oh,
so enriching because these are not your normal questions.
I was going to ask you, guys, how did you find our conversation? I'm so sorry. Let me be cool, honestly, guys. I'm cool.
Really, really thoughtful questions, and and I've just realized that how much I've talked, and the time has like flown by. Yeah. So thank you for putting me at ease.
Oh yeah, I'm glad. No, but it's easy as well. Listen, when you're talking to somebody who's like has done the work that it's there, and you care about what you do, and it is evident. And I will say that's the one thing about this platform that I struggled mentally before I started it, because I was like, well, people care, because I'm not looking for people that are just blown. I just want to talk to certain people, and I want to talk to people who I feel are doing work and are building in their ways. Like you said, everyone has their little sphere in which they operate, and it is integral and it is important. And I believe that there is so much value and there is so much joy and purpose in ordinary moments, in what seems like day to day, but it stacks and it builds.
Life is a collection of ordinary moments that, become, big things.
Big things. And working in the entertainment space, I see a lot, and people come up to me, they're like, I want to work, I want to do this. And is it the fancy? I'm like, guys, it's not all glitz and glam. We're working, or we're working, and it's okay to be happy to just do that work. It doesn't have to be this loud, huge thing. And the loud moments will come, and people say overnight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm a 25-year success story. Overnight success story.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much. Fantastic. And guys, we've recorded this episode at the CEP Entertainment Hub. If you want to know how you too can record in places like this for free, I'll drop a link in the comment box below, so please go over there and click. Big shout out to Rixel Productions, that are my production partner on this. Big shout out to our equipment partners, Canon, and of course, set design, Akaso, because they go do the stuffs. Look at the beauty. Until next time, guys, I will see you in the next episode of the StormCast. Bye-bye.